September 8th, 2025, a Monday morning. A fresh start. 31-year-old Romeca Meeks Blackmon kissed her 6-year-old son goodbye, tucked a handwritten love note into his lunchbox, and watched him walk into his South Loop, Chicago elementary school. The note read, "Happy Monday, son. This is a fresh start to this day and you can start off strong. Always remain yourself. You're the coolest, smartest, and funniest kid I know. I love you so much. Love, Mommy." It was his first day of first grade, a milestone. The kind of day every parent photographs, posts on social media, and remembers forever. Romeca had done exactly that. She'd taken pictures. She'd written that note with careful, loving handwriting. She'd made sure her baby boy knew how special he was. 15 minutes later, Romeca was dead, shot multiple times in the face, in broad daylight, with witnesses everywhere, just steps away from where she'd dropped off her son. This is the story of a mother's love, a toxic love triangle, and a murder that has divided a city. A case where the line between self-defense and cold-blooded murder has sparked heated debate across the nation. You're watching Crime Trace, and if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. We dive deep into the most controversial and emotional true crime stories, and this one will stay with you. Before we dive into the tragedy, we need to understand who Romeca Meeks Blackmon really was. Romeca was more than just a statistic, more than a headline. She was a 31-year-old nursing student with dreams of helping others. A devoted mother who lived and breathed for her little boy. A daughter. A sister. A friend. Her mother, Tina McMillan, described her daughter as kind, sweet, loving, very supportive, and an amazing mother. Friends say Romeca was the type of person who would drop everything to help someone in need. She was working hard in nursing school, balancing her studies with being a full-time mom. She had goals, she had plans, she wanted to make a difference in people's lives through healthcare. But like many stories we cover on this channel, Romeca's life was complicated. She shared a son with a man named Carlos Smith Sr., and that relationship, that connection, ultimately led to her death. By September 2025, Romeca and Carlos were no longer together. He had moved on. He was now in a relationship with a 31-year-old woman from Des Plaines named Quadaja Johnson, who also went by the name Holly. And Carlos and Quadaja? They had a 6-month-old baby together. So here's the situation. 1 man, 2 women, 2 children, and a lot of tension. This wasn't just a love triangle. This was a powder keg. And on the morning of September 8th, it exploded. But here's where things get controversial. Because according to court documents, Quadaja Johnson had filed a stalking no-contact order against Romeca earlier that year. The order was granted in July 2024. But it was never served. Johnson claimed Romeca was harassing her, threatening her, making her life difficult. She painted a picture of Romeca as an aggressive ex who couldn't let go, a woman who was dangerous. So the question everyone was asking after the shooting was simple. Who was really the aggressor here? Who was really in danger? Was Romeca a stalker? Or was Quadaja building a paper trail to justify what she planned to do? We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about what happened that Monday morning. 9:06 a.m. Cermak Road and State Street, Chicago's South Loop. Romeca Meeks Blackmon had just dropped her son off for his first day of first grade. She was still in the area near the school when 2 other people arrived. Carlos Smith Sr., her son's father, had parked nearby with Quadaja Johnson and their infant daughter. According to prosecutors, they were there for what they called an unrelated reason. Carlos was switching cars with Quadaja. But when Romeca and Quadaja saw each other, everything changed. According to court records and witness testimony, what happened next unfolded in terrifying speed. The 2 women got into a verbal argument. Heated. Angry. A witness driving by later testified that Quadaja advanced toward Romeca. while Romeca stood relatively stationary. Then Carlos got involved. Multiple witnesses, including a person waiting at a nearby bus stop, said they saw Carlos swinging a car door at Romeca, trying to close her own car door on her. When she exited her vehicle, Carlos allegedly put her in a chokehold. Let that sink in. The father of her child allegedly put her in a chokehold. In public. Outside their son's school. When Romeca broke free from the chokehold, Quadajar walked back to the car. She retrieved a gun. And according to prosecutors, she walked toward Romeca and fired. Multiple witnesses heard the shots. They saw Romeca fall. They saw Quadajar allegedly pause after the first shot, then fire again. Romeca was hit multiple times in the face at extremely close range. One witness screamed at police, "She shot her! I saw her put the gun in the car!" Another shouted, "He had her in a headlock before the other woman shot her." Romeca Meeks Blackman was rushed to Stroger Hospital. She was pronounced dead. And here's the part that enraged the community. Quadajar Johnson was arrested at the scene, but she claimed self-defense. She had a valid FOID card, a concealed carry license. She told police she feared for her life, and, incredibly, she was released without charges. For 3 months, Romeca's family waited for justice. 3 months of agony. 3 months of watching the woman who allegedly killed their daughter, their sister, their grandbaby's mother, walk free. Tina McMillan, Romeca's mother, stood at the very spot where her daughter was killed and told reporters, "Someone has to pay for this. It's not right." She was now raising Romeca's 6-year-old son, the same little boy who'd received that heartbreaking note in his lunchbox, the same boy who was about to turn 7, without his mother. Imagine having to explain to a child that his mother isn't coming home, that the last time he saw her, when she dropped him off at school, was the last time he'd ever see her alive. The case went viral on social media. Videos from the scene showed chaos, confusion, and something that disturbed many people. Witnesses claimed they heard Quadajar, shortly after the shooting, proudly announcing that she was licensed to carry. Even more disturbing? Multiple witnesses say that after shooting Romeca, Quadajar fist-bumped Carlos. Think about that. A woman lay dying. Her son's school was right there. And the two people allegedly responsible fist-bumped. Social media exploded. The hashtag Justice for Romeca trended on Twitter. People across the country weighed in. The video of that lunchbox note, the last thing Romeca wrote to her son, went viral. Millions of people saw it. Millions of people mourned with her family. But the reaction wasn't unanimous. Some people defended Quadajar. They pointed to the restraining order. They said, if she felt threatened, she had every right to protect herself. Others were outraged. They said, how is this self-defense when the father had her in a chokehold and then she was shot? The Chicago State's Attorney's Office initially said there wasn't enough evidence to charge Quadajar. The case remained under investigation. Weeks turned into months. Romeca's family held balloon releases, wore pink shirts in her memory, demanded answers. They accused Quadajar of creating a paper trail with those protective orders, setting up a narrative that helped her claim self-defense. The community was divided. Some people pointed to the restraining order and asked, what if Quadajar really was being stalked? What if she really feared for her life? Others pointed to the witness accounts, the chokehold, the fist bump, and they asked, how is this self-defense? The debate raged on, and Romeca's family waited, and waited, and waited. And then, finally, in early December 2025, nearly 3 months after Romeca's death, there was a break in the case. Quadajar Johnson was arrested at her home in Des Plaines. She was charged with first-degree murder. When she appeared in court for her detention hearing, she was 7 weeks pregnant. Prosecutors laid out their case. Romeca had just dropped off her son. The verbal argument escalated. Carlos put Romeca in a chokehold. Quadajar retrieved her gun, and shot Romeca multiple times. And then, prosecutors emphasized this, she fist-bumped Carlos as Romeca lay dying. Quadaja's defense team argued self-defense. They pointed to the restraining order. They claimed Romeca was the aggressor. But the judge wasn't buying it. Judge James Costello made a statement that cut to the heart of the matter. Celebrating in the street after shooting someone is not self-defense. Quadaja Johnson was denied bond. She's currently being held in custody, awaiting trial. The family finally felt like they could breathe. Tina McMillan told reporters, "I want justice so I can have peace of mind. It won't bring her back, but it will be a little peace now. I just feel like a big bundle has been lifted off my head and heart." But the trial hasn't happened yet. The full story hasn't been told in court, and there are still so many unanswered questions. Why were Carlos and Quadaja really at that location? Was it truly coincidence? Why did Carlos allegedly put Romeca in a chokehold? And perhaps most importantly, where are the charges against Carlos Smith Sr.? Multiple witnesses say he physically attacked Romeca, put her in a chokehold, created the situation where she was vulnerable to being shot. Yet as of now, he hasn't been charged with anything. The case of Romeca Meeks Blackman is still unfolding. The trial will determine what really happened that September morning, whether Quadaja Johnson was defending herself or whether she committed murder in broad daylight. But what we know for certain is this: a 6-year-old boy lost his mother. A woman with dreams of becoming a nurse will never graduate. A grandmother is now raising her grandson and trying to explain why Mommy isn't coming home. And a community is asking hard questions about domestic violence, gun laws, and accountability. This case raises serious questions about concealed carry laws. Should someone involved in an ongoing domestic dispute have access to a firearm? Should restraining orders automatically trigger a review of gun licenses? It raises questions about how we handle co-parenting situations that have become toxic. How do we protect everyone involved, especially the children? And it raises the biggest question of all. What is self-defense? Where's the line between protecting yourself and taking a life? Romeca's last words to her son were written in that lunchbox note. "Always remain yourself. You're the coolest, smartest, and funniest kid I know. I love you so much." She signed it, "Love, Mommy." 15 minutes later, she was gone. That little boy will grow up without his mother. He'll have questions. He'll want to know why. And someday, he'll be old enough to understand what happened that day outside his school. The trial is pending. Quadaja Johnson sits in jail, awaiting her day in court. Carlos Smith Sr. has not been charged, despite multiple witnesses saying he put Romeca in a chokehold. Justice, as they say, moves slowly. But Romeca's family is determined to see it through. What do you think about this case? Do you believe this was self-defense, or was this murder? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe. And remember to treat each other with kindness. You never know what someone is going through. Until next time, stay safe.